Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tower of Babble podcast. As always, I am Julian and Meush. I am joined by Jeremy Kozier.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about the latest in film and TV news here today. We're going to go a little bit
of what we can remember.
Well, fortunately, I grab screenshots of the news when I'm scrolling Twitter, between doom scrolling, of course. I switch back and forth between watching the world fall apart and like getting entertainment news. So I save those and then I scroll through those back to get the notes, a little bit of behind the scenes information for you. But we're gonna go a little bit less structured in the sense that I hadn't had a chance to write down all the notes, but we'll go through the stories and we'll kind of pick them as they go. There's a couple that are top of mind. There's a few things that I've watched that I kind of want to talk about. I saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Jeremy, and gotta say, pretty great. Like,
that's good.
Yeah, very good. And like we were just talking about music before we started recording. And one of the coolest things about the new TMNT movie is its soundtrack. So if you go on Spotify right now and you find the TMNT Mutant Mayhem mixtape, which is I think curated by Seth Rogen, and it's like all 80s, 90s hip hop stuff. It's like very good. It's a very solid playlist. So I've been listening to that like nonstop. We listened to it all this weekend when we were cleaning up the apartment and stuff. It's great. But anyway, we'll save a little bit of that for later. I want to talk about TMNT and kind of where that sits and kind of how it's performing, which is not as great as it should be probably. As always, there's more DC news because we live in some sort of time loop situation, so we got to address some of that. And then there's a few other bits and pieces. I mean, ultimately, the entertainment industry is kind of collapsing around us, at least the movie industry is, and television industry is, because there's no one's working. So, or at least the without the writers and the actors, there's not really work. So lots of delays, lots of other things that we can kind of touch on. But I am wearing my Barbenheimer shirt, Jeremy, which if you're watching live, you can see. We actually talked about this in our TOB Film Club episode. So we recorded our film club for Mission Impossible 2 at the end of last month. And we talked about kind of my trip down to Regina to see Oppenheimer in 70mm IMAX and seeing Barbie. And, we can maybe talk a little bit about that. I don't know if you had a chance to watch those, either of them yet, Jeremy, but I'll tell you what.
I've not.
Both are great. Barbie, I've now seen twice. We went to go see it again. Because the first time we saw it was in this kind of really crappy theater in Regina. And we rolled up on Friday night and we got there just in time to catch the last showing that night. And it was just it was one of those theaters, Jeremy, where like they don't have stadium seating. It's kind of like flat row of seats and then the screen's really high up. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the old Town 8 cinema.
Yeah.
How it was like styled like that. So it was not great. But we went to go see it again in a regular kind of more modern Cineplex while we were here. And it's still very funny. Absolutely it's making tons and tons of money, which is not surprising considering the movie. But again, we can, if we have time at the end of the show, we can get into that a little bit more.
Wait, what's not making money?
No, it is making tons of, TMNT is not making it as much money as it should.
Right.
And Barbie is making all the money.
Records.
Yeah.
It's Warner Brothers' most successful movie, I think, isn't it?
Like of all time,
like
or this year?
Or I don't know. It dethroned The Dark Knight in some record.
Yeah, the thing is, the box office records are weird because it reminds me of like when you're watching like football and they'll give you some sort of like very random stat. Like it'd be like, this is the first time in 78 years that someone's got 3 interceptions on 4 Tuesdays in a row. You know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, for this, it's essentially just like the money talks. Like that's what it's ultimately diluted to. What cash is king. Yeah.
So right now, the number one grossing movie this year is Super Mario Bros. The Super Mario Brothers movie, and then I think I'm pretty sure it's Barbie after that.
Then Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I don't know actually.
Well,
it's
Oppenheimer's
awesome
doing pretty
to
well.
See that one do is super good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that one's one of the highest grossing R-rated movies of all time. I think it's in the top 10
like
now.
Lowish. It's like pretty low. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean it's well, I don't know how low it is considering it had to be printed on 70 millimeter IMAX film, and it's a.
I think it's under 200 million.
I don't know if you consider under 200 million. If it's between 150 and 200 million dollar budget, that's not
Barbie's for sure north of 200. I'd imagine.
Right, hold on. I'm sure we can find that out. Oppenheimer, which is sitting at a 2023 gross of $270 million right now. I'm looking at the numbers. It's been suggested to me that Box Office Mojo is not the best website, but instead the numbers, the-numbers.com is the best place to go. Production budget, Jeremy, you're way off.
I was
$100 million for the.
Oh, I said 150.
Well, I mean, I guess you said originally you're like less than 200, so technically you're right. But
that's low.
Yeah, that is low. That is low. It is low, and they've obviously made their money way back, right? 270 million domestic, 393 international. Jimmy, can you answer this question for me? Is Canada considered domestic box office or international box office?
I'd have to think international.
I want to say it's domestic, but
maybe it is because it's so small compared to.
And we're like basically next
states.
Door.
We're just like a tacked on state, basically.
So, according to Wikipedia, the box office, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But for films released in North America, box office figures are usually divided between domestic, meaning the United States and Canada, and forward, which includes all the other countries. So we get to be included in domestic box office receipts. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. Oppenheimer's getting obviously a lot of buzz. Most of it is about. I feel like a lot of people talking about like the IMAX of it all. But there's I went down a whole rabbit hole of watching videos about atomic weapons and like the physics of it and why it matters and all these things, and it's fascinating stuff. So, and I was like leading up to the movie, so I was like gripped the whole way. I listened to someone talk about it today, and they were basically saying that they thought it was an hour too long, and I just couldn't disagree more about that. I mean, I understand that it's a biopic and it's like not.
Well, we thought the same thing for the Batman, and then we realized that we put that movie on if we wanted to nap.
Yeah, Jimmy, I know you keep bringing that up. You really cooled on that movie over time. But that movie's still badass in my opinion, and it certainly looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it's slower and it is quieter, so it is easy to fall asleep at. Because it's happened to me, which doesn't happen very often, which is an indictment of it. But I still love that movie, so just let's not get too crazy,
Okay.
throwing it under the bus. I know there's been a lot of stuff online lately about like getting Affleck back to do his solo movie, but I feel like that ship sailed like 3 years ago. So I don't really understand that.
There's a time loop.
It does feel like that. It really does feel like that. I looked at all these different records and milestones that they have listed for Oppenheimer. So biggest fourth Tuesday, yada yada yada. This is all lame. I just want to see if there's the R-rated movie one. Top R-rated weekend domestics. It's 12th at 82 million. That's not what I want. Best biggest first Friday. It's 96th there. Never number one domestic. Number two. I don't know. I guess the most money, but not at number one because it premiered against Barbie. Anyway, it's interesting. But let's get into some of the news here. So let's start with the first story in reverse chronological order, which is that the House of Dragon season 2 has been condensed from 10 episodes to 8 episodes. Did you watch the first season, Jeremy? House of Dragon?
No.
Well, you're missing out because it was actually very, very good. It was return to form for Game of Thrones, in my opinion. It did some weird stuff with like time and like time jumps because it covers something like 50 years of time frame, but very good. Anyway, so they're saying they're reducing it from 10 to 8. I'm not a big fan of the shorter and shorter seasons,
less content.
Yeah, because what else am I going to do with my time? But I mean,
so selfishly.
No, yeah, I get listen, I understand the balance, but someone brought this up the other day on I don't remember which podcast I was listening to or what article I was reading or tweet I was reading or whatever. But, and no, I'm not calling it X. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. I can't do it, Jeremy. I can't. Anyway, so I was listening, reading something, and they were saying that like, so the second season of Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which was a epic second season, just like absolutely crushed it. If anyone's looking for like classic Star Trek Mission of the Week style TV, can't really go wrong with Strange New Worlds. Anton, and is that his name? Mount, as Captain Pike is absolutely phenomenal. The whole cast is great. They nailed the Star Trek tone. But they were saying that they're planning because it's a prequel to the original series. They were planning to do, up to a certain, a timeline period or however many years of production before they ended it to like catch up to the original series. And that would put it at 10 episodes a season. It would put it at like 50 episodes all time, something like that, give or take. But if you compare that to 5 seasons of like Next Generation, which had 22 episode seasons at an hour each, it's like it's barely any. It doesn't even scratch the number of minutes we're talking of pure Star Trek content. So we kind of are like, yes, we're spoiled by content in a sense, but at the other hand, seasons are getting shorter and shorter. So everything's kind of condensing to the mean. Movies are getting longer and TV shows are getting shorter. Eventually, you won't be able to tell the difference, I assume. Do you prefer a longer season or a shorter season? Does it depend on the show?
I just don't. I don't think I like TV really. I just don't. It doesn't.
That doesn't make any. You don't. Jeremy. That doesn't make any sense.
What shows am I watching? What show? Like
I don't know, but it doesn't make. What is it about TV that you don't like? I guess
I'd rather just pop in a movie and just get into that.
Is it the commitment? Like, so. Is it the okay? You got to be here next week, kind of thing.
It's just the craft too. It's just like this nice. Like I'd rather just see what James Cameron was doing with the Terminator. Sure. Like right now, I want to just like I popped that in. I found a Blu-ray of that one and I popped that one in and watched some of that.
So you're just in a different mode where you're just kind of you're looking backwards, not forwards.
Well, I don't think backwards is the right term.
Well, backwards in time, you're looking at, classics.
I'm just looking at a director and his movie, basically. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can,
by the way,
in a time slot.
I had this debate yesterday with a few friends. I think it's widely regarded that T2 is better than T1. I have a friend of mine who is staunch about the fact that the first Terminator is a better movie. I strongly disagree. Do you have a stance on that?
Yeah, like it doesn't offend me. I mean, the first one is groundbreaking. It is just world building at its finest at that time. I mean, and then it was more of a horror movie, like Chucky, but without cheese, essentially. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like a crazy horror, violent, murderous impending doom feeling with time travel. It's very like because the second movie it just does the role reversal with all the characters, which is such a crazy twist. Which I won't get into specific because I don't want to ruin that for people who haven't seen it.
Well,
but to see those established roles, those established characters and their motivations, initially broke through in the first one with Kyle Reese going back in time to protect Sarah.
Yes.
And Arnold's Terminator, who was with, part of the War of the Machines.
It's like one of the only villains he's ever played, right? He doesn't play a lot of villains. That was one of the few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it was just insane at the time. And I'm watching it, trying to get through that lens as well. But like, no matter what, the effects and the blockbuster like mentality around T2 is just peak.
Right.
It's peak. That's it. Like there's no.
It doesn't get better. Well, the movies certainly didn't get better after that. I'll tell you, the Terminator movies.
Yeah, like I have that on 4K, a couple Blu-rays of it, and a DVD. Like I'll always hang on to all
every
formats
every
of that
disc-based
movie.
format you can find.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, and I know you've kind of restarted your physical media collection process probably at the right time, because streaming is collapsing around us at a record pace.
yeah. Streaming just sucks. Like you go throw in something and it's just like blurry for a little bit if your internet isn't the greatest, or there's something going on with whatever. Like Christopher Nolan had that. He was on an episode of that whatever that museum is with all those movies on the shelves, like walls and walls of DVDs and Blu-rays. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like a
on YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, so they had Killian and Nolan there, and then they're just browsing movies, and then just pulling one off the shelf, and then talking about it, and you learn all these crazy new things through Christopher Nolan's perspective and what has stuck with him through some of those viewings of those movies when he was younger, and then how he translated that to when he started making movies. Like he talks about Star Wars Godfather. What's his name?
George Lucas.
George Lucas. Yeah, sorry. And just like how that's what he's basically trying to do, is like those epics of those days, in like a grounded way.
I don't know if we could. I mean, I appreciate that concept. I just don't know if it's truly possible. I mean, Oppenheimer is impressive for its performance as an R-rated biopic, but it's not Star Wars. You know what I mean? So
no, but that's just one movie. I'm talking about like his career, like all of his movies,
sure.
Dark Knight trilogy, Inception. It's just sci-fi at its.
He has said that he wants to
greatest.
do a James Bond movie. He would be open to doing that. I heard someone say that they didn't want him to do it because they already got an idea of what it would be like from Inception, but I think that's bullshit. If you could give a James Bond movie to Christopher Nolan, I think you'd do it
Yeah,
you don't.
It's very likely that it could happen now.
And timing works out. They
openly invited that said he would do it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't think Barbara Broccoli, my favorite producer name of all time, had obviously heir to the broccoli fortune, inventor of the broccoli. I don't think they've figured out their plans for the next phase of James Bond, right? It's kind of on pause until they don't have an actor. Idris Elba kind of turned it down after the whole race thing.
Well, everything's just collapsing anyways.
Well, it turns out maybe
Lucasfilm closed 2 VFX studios, I think, that they've had for
a long time,
over a decade.
Yeah, people thought that is going to mean that's the end of like animation at Lucasfilm. It's not. I think that's overblown. At least that's what.
No, they're going to be making less content.
Yeah, less content is probably the reality, but not. And it's so wild, Jeremy, because right, we have so many more avenues to watch the stuff. Right, Ahsoka premieres, right away next week, right, and a week from now. And by the way, we will be back to cover that. Rachel will be back from her leave of absence for good reason. The baby's now stable enough that she can take an hour or two once a week to record a podcast. So that's a welcome return. She's excited about it. So we are doing Ahsoka coverage. But Bob Iger admitted that they said, "Oh no, we obviously were pumping out too much." But it's all bullshit, because they did that because they wanted to get subscribers to their streaming service, and now they're cutting content and raising prices. So that doesn't really seem like a sustainable model to me either, to be honest. You're gonna bleed users over a long time if the best you can do is one Star Wars show a year and one Marvel show a year on Disney Plus, and the odd kids stuff. And maybe Disney Plus is the exception because it has that kid stuff to keep people subscribed. But the other streamers have said the same thing. So it's another example of Hollywood executives having no fucking idea what they're doing. It's like, it is so wild how much money these people lose. I know we talk about this every time we're on this podcast, but it is amazing how much money these people lose for these companies and are still able to keep their jobs. And not only that, get paid bonuses in the millions of dollars a year range. So this late stage capitalism thing turns out not working really well, because it's not just
What do you mean late stage?
I don't know. It's like, that's the buzz term, but this idea that like we've reached the point of in the kind of the capitalism curve where things start to
capitalize too much.
Well, we start eating our own young a little bit more than we were already, because that kind of is already that's kind of the process anyway. But it becomes
there's like a union vote coming soon for Disney, I think.
Like which union, like,
or something? I don't know. I just heard. I think it's like a VFX like union.
There's I've seen a couple of those VFX studios saying they're going to attempt to unionize.
Yeah, I think there's a vote or something of note I saw.
Well, I'm obviously, we all support unionized work. Jeremy, you're not unionized, right? You're
no.
Yeah. Neither am I. I've never actually been a part of a union, but I will tell you that
there was a vote. There was actually, it was being implemented. There was a vote.
And it didn't pass?
It didn't pass. No.
Interesting. Was there any attempt by your organization to try to like stamp it out? Because that's like union busting is a very...
The operations manager was literally like, he lost his job. Like, there was a huge court battle.
That is so crazy.
Undercover videos and testimonies. And he basically just did everything you're not supposed to do while a union vote is being taken place.
That is so crazy.
Like, he literally would bring people and close the door and like talk to them about it and like get people to find out who's a no vote, who's a yes vote.
That is
pairing up
so
people.
Wild.
He literally paired people up based on race to like get the older person to like sway the younger, newer.
Well, it sure sounds
employee.
like he deserved to lose his job.
Yeah, but then his boss basically said they just decided to part ways. Like, they didn't actually go through. They didn't tell the truth on how it happened, and he probably got a major severance being with the company for.
Yeah, well, because that guy wasn't
years.
operating on his own. The rest of the owners didn't want them to you guys to unionize. So, I mean, this is what I mean. I mean, like, specifically the entertainment industry is in crisis, but there's so many things that are in crisis, right? You know, we're dealing with global warming, and we got a housing crisis here in North America. Mostly, it's exasperated in Canada, but North America in general. You know, the list just keeps going on and on and on about all, like, the price of gas is through the roof. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we support unions, but like specifically here, in our backyard in Winnipeg, the liquor workers are on strike because they're unionized.
So funny.
And all they're asking
like, just
for,
ring through the beers and the bottles.
Yes, but they are government employees.
Yeah, I know.
And they're
so
unionized, and they're saying that they want whatever 3.5% annual pay increases, which sounds like a lot, but until you consider that inflation's like 8%.
Didn't they just announce that like 3.3% hike of something?
Well, they said their argument, the union's argument was that the government passed their own pay raises at 3.3% a year. So they're saying, well, if the government can do that, then they should be able to do the same for us. And that's
Canada's annual inflation rate jumped to 3.3% in July.
Right.
Thanks to higher gas prices.
So, yeah. So like so this idea that like, oh, no, we can't afford to pay you an extra 1.3% a year that you want. Instead, we're going to lock you out and, you know, potentially risk your ability to put food on your table. And instead, and this is the same kind of stuff we hear from the movie executives. Oh, we can't afford to pay the writers, right? We can't afford to pay the writers because if we start that, then we'll go under. And it's all bullshit. Like, the money's there, they just used it. They gave it to themselves, it goes to the investors in some way, right? The system is not. Listen, this is not a communist podcast. I'm not endorsing communism, but I am endorsing socialism as a more equitable way of sharing resources. And it's wild to me that all this stuff is happening at the same time, And we as individual people who are facing the consequences of this, by the way, of not being able to watch the stuff we want, or if you're working in these industries, not being able to work, or, not being able to afford to live, or, or buy a house, all these things, you have really no control over it. But we can sit here and bitch about it, though, and I'm happy to.
Is it like Microsoft trying to acquire like Blizzard Entertainment or something like that?
Yeah, they bought
like Call of Duty Activision.
They bought Call of Duty Activision for what, like several $billion, right? And that is so much money.
$60 billion or something.
You can't even $70 billion, I thought.
Or I don't know. And then Elon Musk bought Twitter for $40
billion.
Like
that he overpaid.
It
apparently.
doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's all this money to go around, but we can't solve simple problems like housing affordability or gas prices or all these things that regular people have. It's crazy. And again, that's not what this podcast is about. But when we're talking about an industry in crisis like the entertainment industry, it sure feels like it has a lot of parallels to what we're dealing with here. Oppenheimer is a movie that deals with the transition from the pre-atomic age to the atomic age and how you handle that. What does that mean to live in a world? And this is one of the most fascinating things, Jeremy, about that movie, which is that this all happened long before we were born, right? The atomic bomb was invented long before we were born, but we have always lived, ever since the day we were born, in a world where atomic weapons could destroy us all at any given moment. Which doesn't sound like, it's like, well, of course, it's always been that way, but it wasn't always that way. And it has to affect people to know that could happen. Like maybe we put it in the back of our brains and we don't really think about it, and unless you hear about the war in Ukraine or what have you.
Of course, we don't think about it. We have reality TV shows, and
but why?
Why would we think we're invincible until you're one of the few that stuff that I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying it's interesting because we're going through another change, right? We're going into this like new industrial revolution, this world of trying to of this AI stuff, and it's like, what does this all mean? Our life in 10 years from now could be entirely different from what it is today because or then you also heard about the stuff about fusion.
Does it make you just want to go watch iRobot with Will Smith?
I actually like that movie. I watched it a lot when I was young. So yeah, technically, isn't Shia LaBeouf in that movie too?
Or Minority Report? Shia LaBeouf? Yeah, he actually is. I think.
Yeah, he's
like on the ground level.
Yeah, he's just like a regular. Yeah, he has a small role in that movie. It makes me
whenever the machines go rogue and the red light comes on.
Yes, it's convenient that they have a big red light to know that they're evil. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like I'm wearing a shirt with an atomic bomb on it, so it's like at this point we have made light of it enough. But and then there's the whole 9/11 thing. We live in a post 9/11 world, which is like I think I saw a tweet saying something like, or Kara maybe showed it to me. She's like, basically, our generation was in middle school and watched hundreds of people die live on TV, and then things basically never got better from there. I was like, when you put it like that, it does sound pretty bad. Anyway, that's pretty depressing. Quick, Jeremy, think of something exciting to talk about. That's fun. How about this? An animated Kingdom Come movie, Kingdom Come, the DC property, was discussed, but due to, quote, changing regimes, we couldn't move forward to go with anything like that.
All these animated movies suck as of late.
I haven't loved them. It's true.
There's a new one that came out. You haven't even mentioned it.
Which one's that one?
I think it's called Justice League War World.
No, really?
Yep.
How did I miss that? I want to watch it now.
They're just like good for 10 minutes and then they just get so boring.
Oh yeah, July 25th from Justice League War World, and then before that was Batman the Doom that came to Gotham.
Yeah, I own both. I haven't even watched them. I think I tried to watch the Batman one. That was kind of cool.
That's like the sequel to the. Is it a sequel?
No, it's not. I think they're all in the same universe or something of multiverses because it's the same art style. Like even on the spines, it's like there's images that like match up if you keep buying.
Yeah, but that doesn't make. I mean, this is the same multiverses because I was saying this is like this is still the.
It's not like they're canon to each other, but they are because it's like a multiverse.
Right, steampunk Batman story, the Doom that came to Gotham. The Legion of Superheroes that came out in February 2023. So there's 3 this year that I haven't seen.
They're not making any noise anymore.
Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons. That's in 2022.
Like, that's so lame.
So, okay, here's what, according
like, these animated movies were geared towards adults.
They were.
Not saying that you can not like what was it? Superman Batman Battle of the Super Sons. But
that's right, Battle of the Super Sons. That's right.
You know what I mean? But like I want Gotham by Gaslight. Like, I want stories like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Well,
maybe Legion of Superheroes. I haven't even heard of that one. I think I own that one actually, but
okay. So here's what it is. So Jeremy, Batman, the Doom that came to Gotham is a standalone film.
Yes,
but
yeah, no, I was digging that one. I watched a bit of that one.
Okay, so that's a standalone one, and it is adapted from a book that's called Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. So there you go. It's already that one. That was a straight adaptation.
That one's a good one.
And Batman and the Battle of the Super Sons also a standalone, but not an adaptation. That's a entirely unique. Right. But Legion of Superheroes and Justice League Warworld are both in the Tomorrowverse, which I've never heard of, which I guess launched with Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Right.
But
so they have the spines on the slip covers that match up.
Okay.
Because like I said, I own every single one of these movies. Part one of my major collections.
But like Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2 are also in the Tomorrowverse, which also feels like it doesn't fit now to me.
Right. Well, it's the same art style. I think is the only thing that really.
That first Batman Long Halloween movie is great. Like, top tier animated movie. Good. The second one sucks. That's the unfortunate. Didn't stick the landing. Here's the thing though. Okay. So I haven't seen these ones. Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna go watch them. Because they are good. They are fun to just like throw on and kind of like vibe with the superhero action and whatnot. But you're right, they're not jumping off the page. You're talking about unionization. I think I don't know if we did or was planning on mentioning it, but I know that Warner Brothers Animation is looking to unionize. So there's another one where we support unions there. But yeah,
we're like Stephen Amell. We're pro union, pro strike now.
That's such a funny poll, Jeremy. Thank you. Did you see the picture of him? I feel like they found the perfect picture.
That's why I'm only mentioning it, because it was the interview. We watched the sound bite.
Yes.
You're like, okay, this guy, he's got an opinion here. And then you see everyone hating on him, and then you see him,
and then he appears with.
I thought that was gonna be a private conversation, and it's taken up context, and then you just see an image.
It wasn't. Wasn't it at a convention? Why would it be a private conversation? Why would you think it was a private conversation?
That was weird. And then you just see him on the picket line holding a
right, but looking absolutely miserable. Like he's like
I'm pretty sure he's holding the sign, and then his other hand is in his pocket.
Yes.
So it's like. And then just a look of shame on his face.
Well, yeah, his publicist made him do it or whatever. But
like you're not going to get a job if you don't. You could, but he said he's pro-union, so he just doesn't like the tactic, apparently, of striking.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. It's like it's a bit of a mob mentality, right? Where it's like you either are with us or you're against us.
Yeah,
right.
Arrow would be for it, so that's why he's got a lot of flack.
Yeah, I don't agree with him. By the way, I don't agree that striking is a kind of like a one card only type play. I think it is a valid decision that the actors made.
Yeah, well, it's essentially just everything. You're just not supplying your employer with the goods. Like, it's just not happening anymore.
Well, exactly. You withhold labor to.
It's the ultimate chess move.
Exactly. But and then the flip side of that is the lockout, right? Which is to say, well, what you're demanding isn't fair, so we as the employers are going to lock you out so you can't work. Yeah. Which I always felt
if that quote of the whole houses thing didn't come out, like, who knows what? Like,
well, apparently he's an idiot. But the sense of that whole Stephen Amell situation, which is that like he was already kind of not the greatest dude.
Well, I was referring to how there was the leak of them saying like, well, just wait till they start losing their houses. And
that would have
that whole thing just blew a fire into this thing. Like, and now it's like, how long has it been of this strike? Like,
Well, the writers have been on strike for it's got to be pushing 3 months now.
Like, that's insane.
And the writers, I mean, we're a couple weeks in, but
and they're trying to say that like they whatever studio like saved a record amount of money with no production cost, but it's like no.
But also
it's
no
like,
revenue.
You guys are so massive. You need to spend money to make money. Like,
you know what I mean?
Like,
yeah. Well, it's always been that way in that sense, because you need to get something you have to spend money to make something so that it can come out and make money, right?
Yeah. So just saying you just didn't spend money isn't the win.
Yeah. No, this is what I mean. I mean, like I don't really know how long, because really, as you said before, money talks, right? So I don't know. And by the way, hey, hello to Starfry in the chat, listening to us bemoan the state of the world. But at some point, it does come down to you have to hold out long enough so that they feel the pain. Because right now they're not feeling the pain because you know they still have movies coming out and they're still making that money. But it's a pretty long road. By the time the studios start feeling the pinch, it's going to be like next summer. You know what I mean? I guess maybe a little bit longer, like closer to Christmas, probably.
When will Superman Legacy actually get off the ground?
Well, it can't get it. You can't do. I mean, right? I mean,
until
I don't know
then, it's going to be make the Batfleck movie.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be that on Twitter for sure forever. It's really crazy, to be honest. That whole stuff. I know we talk about this every single time, but
it's a joke.
No, I know it's funny though.
But no, I'm saying it like I'm the comedian. It's all just
it's all bullshit ultimately. But I mean, so the studios aren't going to feel the pain for a little bit. Yeah, probably not till close to the end of the year, because they've already bumped out some movies till next year. The actors and the writers, on the other hand, I don't think they have the ability to hold out that long. So they're going to have to come to the table again at some point. But like, it seems so stupid for them to do that because, and maybe stupid is the wrong word. Maybe it seems so unjust that they would have to do that, because the demands that the studios are making seem so comically evil, right? Like, it doesn't seem.
And now they have to. And now out of nowhere, they have to own up to that they've been doing that for so long, and then just give a huge amount of their massive share.
Yes,
back.
They don't want to.
And these types of people have massive egos and live a world, that is so unobtainable to any of us.
Average person, right?
Like,
yeah. Even if you won the lottery, you would have a fraction of the wealth.
Fraction,
yeah. And the chances of winning the lottery, by the way, very low.
Like, they have they literally have yacht like communities.
Yeah, they're like, oh, let's meet at St. Bart's this week with our
yachts.
yachts.
Aren't boats. These are yachts.
Yes. Have you ever been on a super yacht, Jeremy?
No, I've seen them. But
they are unreal. Like there's like movie theaters and bowling alleys and like it doesn't make sense. And again, we're not saying that they can't have yachts. Have a yacht, whatever. I don't give a shit. But
it's just, you have so much money to pay people to build this thing
that made you money.
Bowling alleys, that can go on water.
Yeah, right.
It's like insane.
It's hard to even wrap. Exactly. It's like it's so unfathomable. It makes no sense, right? And this is why every time someone who's in a position to negotiate with unions, this is true for our government right now with our provincial government with the liquor workers and the studios. It just, every single time you have to make a statement, you sound like the worst human being possible, because when the average person, it sounds entirely reasonable that you would, in the case of the liquor workers, give them the same raises you gave yourself, or
liquor workers.
Right. Or in this,
it's so funny how they're actually just like outside of the liquor mart, like just like half of them are on like beach chairs and like sitting.
But again, in the case of
it's just a huge eyesore. Like, who is it for? Like, it's not. It's for the general public, is the people who have to see this.
Well, it's also the ones who are affected by it, right?
And and they're affected because we can't purchase it.
No,
now.
I can't.
Or where do you go? You go to the local beer store.
That's right. And the beer stores are doing very well right now. But and
They don't have wine though, I guess.
Yeah, you could go to the local wine stores too. I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like at the Forks, they have that huge wine store there.
I feel like that store is not as good as it could be. That's my
Really?
opinion on that. Yeah, they don't do enough. Like,
I don't know. There's
you're a
lot
wine
of
store
bottles there.
in one of the most like the busiest tourist place in the whole province, and their
What do they need to
hours are
do?
weird.
There's
They
a
don't do any. They
bunch
don't
of-
do any like wine tastings or anything that would be like interesting. You know,
I'm sure they have.
I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm giving them a short shrift. But every time I go there to get the wine that I like, it's always out of stock. So I don't know. I'm a little bitter on it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. For the studios, every time they open their mouth and say, "Oh, things like wait till they lose their houses," or it's not sustainable for us to be able to pay writers the demands. It's just like it. And then someone immediately has a response like, "Oh, really? Then how did you spend all this money on this piece of shit movie?" Right?
Yeah,
Or
I don't know what Bob Iger was thinking. Like, there's a literal video interview like of him saying that what
Right.
they're asking for is unreasonable. Like, he's literally put his face out there and neck out there, said that, and now Ron Perlman makes this crazy, most intimidating,
yeah, that's right, the scariest thing you've
in
ever
your
heard.
face video. And remember, Bob Iger was like the savior. He brought Tom Holland and Sony and Spider-Man back into the MCU. He retired off into the sunset after writing his book.
Left it with another Bob, and then Bob
he screwed up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said something about animated movies and adults and all these things and Pixar movies, and then he got the boot, and they brought Iger back, and then he's just taking the hit now. Like is that why he came back?
I don't think this is why he came back. Right. I mean, he came back to right the ship, but then at the same time, this all started to fall apart. Thing about Bob Iger is that he was a very good businessman, but
he'd make the phone call and he'd make it happen.
But
he'd be on the right side of history with with Spider-Man.
He was not really overseeing Disney that was making a lot of original content, right? It was a lot of sequels, a lot of existing IP. That was his like calling card, and it continues to be, because when he came back, he announced that they're going to make more Toy Story movies and more sequels to it's just like it's a lot of more of the same, right? Which I think it's pretty clear to tell that more of the same isn't working if you look at the box office numbers, right? The stuff that is working is largely unique properties, or at least unique takes on certain things. Although Sound of Freedom obviously being the exception to that, which is an insane movie made by insane people. But other than that,
why are they insane?
Well, I don't want to get into it. There's a lot about it that's not above board. We'll just put it that way. But we talk. Okay, so Barbie. Here's the thing: it's a double-edged sword, because you're dealing with, you want original IP and original concepts. I think Barbie brings that, but it's also based on a toy. So Super Mario Brothers, good movie, the highest grossing movie of the year so far. Although Barbie will likely surpass it, in probably by next weekend, based on an existing IP, right? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, although absolutely unique in its storytelling methodology and its visual look, all that kind of stuff, based on Spider-Man, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that's a sequel to a long-standing franchise. The Little Mermaid, a remake of an existing franchise, although I'm glad it's only at 5. I wish it didn't even crack the top 10, to be honest, because fuck that movie. I'm so sick. By the way, have you seen this drama about the whole live action remake around Snow White?
A little bit.
And the actress who's playing her basically saying she doesn't really care for the property. She never really liked the character and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of, I think, vitriol on that, as there is online about everything. But it ultimately comes down to, do you think that as an actor you have to like the character or like the property that you're been cast in, or is it just a job? Because my opinion is it's just a job, as long as they're putting in the work.
Yeah, I think it is just a job. It just, you can become, like a celebrity character to where, like, you could become a Tom Cruise or a Vin Diesel. You know what I mean? Like you almost have to, or like The Rock. Like you become political to a certain degree, and like, you're not that open and honest.
It behooves you to just walk the line and not be yourself. I I guess, but I kind of like the genuine nature of.
Yeah, like they're just I don't give a fuck basically.
Yeah, she's like this
like,
shit was racist, or he was like, and
it's not like it comes through in the performance, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, it's the job. But then we like to think as fans that no, it should come through, the performance. Like look at Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, and
but
the affinity with those two icons.
But when he got cast as Luke Skywalker for the first time, it was just a job. He didn't know what Luke Skywalker was going to become. Right. In this case, it has baggage because it's a fairy tale story. But like, I don't know. I get it depends on the property. In this case, it doesn't bother me. Right.
No.
It would be like at the same time if I'm trying to think of a counter example where I might be on the opposite side of it. But maybe like if Scorsese decided he was going to make a Marvel movie, right? He was going to make an MCU movie, and it'd be like, wait a minute. Like you spent how many interviews talking about how these are roller coasters, yada, yada, yada. But maybe he could talk me into convincing me. Like, I don't know. But I guess I can kind of see it. Disney people, no offense to Disney people, they can be a bit much. So maybe that's the angle that's coming through there, but I don't know. All right, let's pull another story. By the way, Jeremy, I was going to mention this when we were talking about the animated movies, about trying to cheer you up. There is a Watchmen animated movie coming next year in development. Did you know about that?
I did, yeah.
Does that excite you at all, or are you kind of concerned now, given the nature of where we're at?
No, I mean, Watchmen's just kind of been. I feel like it's just been so much explored over the last 10 years, I guess, or more, that it's cool just to get another iteration. And like, if it's an animated movie. There's just a series, not a movie.
It says that they're developing an animated film, R-rated animated film on the graphic novel.
Right.
But maybe it'll be a two-parter. It might be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that.
So it's just always cool to get more visual, and obviously animation is the closest you can get to the visual medium, original medium. You know what I mean? Sure. More so than live action, because it's obviously that's very. Like you can replicate it for sure, but it's very distinctly. Well, I mean,
animation is
different.
Is literally it's almost the same medium, because comics are
it's the same image
pictures,
but moving.
But exactly, so just add 24 more of those in a second, and you have a moving picture.
Where movies is just it's real people, like, you know what I mean. So it just has that different feel.
Yeah,
and that feel is obviously so super epic, and I love that version. So, and then there's also an animated motion comic.
Yes,
that's
like
that was 7 hours long.
The Blu-ray, the pirate one? It's about the pirates.
Right? No, no, that is the Zack Snyder's Watchmen, right. Like ultimate cut adapted, that incorporates the animated or the comic within the comic. The character in that is voiced by Gerard Butler, which is cool because they worked on 300 together, obviously. But what I'm talking about is just a standalone Warner Brothers DC animated movie release that was just basically a motion comic that's 7 episodes or 12 parts.
That's
or whatever.
So crazy. I find motion comics to be not good. I don't like.
I think I think
that's my opinion.
I think they are, like, specifically the Watchmen one, I think is amazing because it's so cool to see the literal art and colors.
Right, and then you hear
lit
people
up,
acting it, and that's fun.
And then it moves or whatever. But the thing is that this is just one guy doing
all the voices and stuff.
Yeah, but like voices like to like a kids or something in a group. Like he's not trying. Like it doesn't sound like a woman when he's doing a woman.
Right. Yeah, no,
but he'll raise his voice.
Well, yeah, that's what people do if you do like an audiobook and it's not a full cast, then it'll be one person doing a bunch of voices, which can be fine.
I think the motion comic that they have should be casted like it's an animated movie. Like, give me celebrities to voice the comedian and Rorschach, and then they just get in the booth and they do it like the animated series. With Kevin Conroy and all that stuff back in the day. Do it like that. Or Jensen Ackles now. Like, don't just get one random guy to read the whole thing, all the word bubbles in weird voices, and then throw in some sound effects, which I think they do. Mm-hmm. There's obviously some visual effects that they enhance to like make like water looks like it's running or something. things move.
It's like
the image gets manipulated.
If you remember that, like,
cool.
sometimes when DC or Marvel puts out like an ad for like a new series of comics that they're doing, they'll do like an animated version.
They'll do a quick little 10-second clip of that, and it's like the most epic thing ever. Or like
Exactly.
I've seen something someone said. Remember when The Rock teased Black Adam with the concept art and the music
and they would
the
like
lightning
the lightning
effects.
was exactly.
And you could see like Kahndaq and like what it would look like in like this animated style.
Kahndaq,
whatever it's called.
I know, it's so funny though. Just like,
and then
I just didn't think, I just wasn't expecting you to throw the name of the country so perfectly.
Yeah. Well, I like my DC lore. I think it's
Kahndaq,
like
but
I
feel like you put it like you said it with like a perfect accent, like too, like you just did. Like you were from Kahndaq.
Thank you. Well, anyways, but yeah, like it's just funny how like the movie ended up being so ass, but like that little thing like hyped it up a little.
By the way, what a roller coaster that movie's been on from at least a Twitter.
Then there's a YouTube video where he's on Kevin Hart's podcast, and like the whole clip that Kevin Hart released is like, why
does Kevin Hart need a podcast? Can
The Rock explains what went wrong with Black Adam or something. Like, it's just so funny that we need to like.
Well, he said that it was a studio thing. Of course, it was a studio.
Yeah, well, everyone lives in their own realities, and obviously there's going to be truth lines throughout. But like, do we really need to hear it from him? Like, he was definitely wanting to center himself, his persona,
100%.
A little too much in the DC. It wasn't like he was just going to be in his cool corner having fun.
No,
like,
he wanted to be the guy, right? It was him. It was going to be him and Cavill, and he was going to use Henry Cavill as a stepping stone to do that. By the way, it's like everyone's like, oh, he had it right. He was going to bring it back, and it was going to be all good and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why I think it's lame when people are like, well, yeah, you didn't show up to Black Adam, so you don't, that's why they booted Henry Cavill.
No, it was a lame stunt to get people in the box into the seats.
It's but exactly, and I saw that. Even though I would prefer Henry Cavill to continue, I'm not going to go watch Black Adam just for that. It's so lame, like especially for a scene that does like it just looks like cosplay. Yeah, cosplay. They're not even in the same room as one another. Like they're not tangibly like together.
There's a lot of that happening now. There's every once in a while I'll be watching a show or a movie, and the way that they cut it, it's like, this is really weird. They're cutting back and forth really weird. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, these people have never been in the same fucking room together.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
TV
so
isn't doing
weird.
it for me these days, other than like The Last of Us. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I'll watch that HBO.
The best. But I mean, that's why you should be watching House of the Dragon. That shit was great the first season. Okay, hey, how about this? Can I get you excited? I know you're into movies. Charles Roven says that they're looking to do an Uncharted sequel, saying, quote, the fans really liked the movie, and people who didn't know anything about the game really liked the movie, unquote. Bullshit, sure. I think.
It made like 400 million or something like that.
Is that, let's see here, Uncharted. I'll look this up right now. But I'm sorry. I mean, that movie sucks.
It overperformed the box office. That is what everyone has kind of realized, and Tom Holland is, happily surprised.
Sure.
Because he tried to get out ahead of it and say that he didn't really know, he took the wrong approach.
Yeah, so it had $120 million production budget, and it grossed $400 million worldwide. 400.6 million worldwide. So
they spun it as a W, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now it's up to them to kind of take all the critiques, look at that conversation around that, and try to set something up good, good for the sequel. Because we weren't that harsh on it. Like,
no, you're right. I just feel like that the framing of it, like, hey, people really liked it. It's like, is that really?
Well, it just really wasn't true? Like, it wasn't, to quote Scorsese, it just wasn't like the cinema version,
right? No,
Uncharted,
right? Like, because we already have the games that do most of that already.
It just seems like a cheap copy that takes some liberties, but a lot of familiar things, and has really cool, famous actors.
Yeah.
And they tried,
but they didn't.
But it's not like a single director's vision. You know what I mean? Like doing something fun in a genre or something new with Like, there's no like frames of that movie that you see people tweet about that are like,
I can't.
that look good or like that you remember. There's, you know what I mean? You just remember.
I do remember parts of that movie.
It's like an SNL skit with Tom Holland just like swinging from ropes or whatever. Like, it's not. No,
Jeremy. What does stand out to me is that time when, and Antonio Banderas' neck is split. Sorry, spoilers for this movie. Right. And no blood comes out. It's the funniest thing. And also, why is he killed halfway through that movie? It doesn't like he's like really
Holland
cool, badass villain.
He's too young.
Yes, he's too young. Or at least,
which is fine if the time period, if they maintain the Sam, the brother thing, like that whole stuff. But no, they threw him in a tux with an earpiece, undercover at a cocktail party.
Yeah, they jumped to Uncharted 3, like basically right away. And
it's like you stick out like a sore thumb, which is a joke that they made, that Mark Wahlberg made. Like, and that was what we gave the movie props, was Mark Wahlberg's comedic ability, and it tied, into the Sully that we knew a little bit, like
kind of, but also like not really. You know what I mean? Like it's
Well, no, it didn't. But what I'm saying is, it made us laugh when we watched it.
Yes, there's some funny lines. This is true. Like I said, it's not I think we said at the time it wasn't terrible, but it missed the mark to really capture us as who are big fans of the franchise. Yeah. So I'm willing to let them try again, but I don't have any faith that it'll be any better. Like, all we talk about all the time is how studios literally never learn any of the real lessons from these movies.
That was a quote that came up by an actor recently.
Yes, I just thinking about that too. I don't remember,
because like the Barbie movie, like they're talking about making all these toy or product IP.
I don't know if it was
universes.
Simu
No, it was not.
It wasn't, but I mean, it was someone tangential. I feel like to the project. Anyway, they did say that. Yeah, they're like, they think that the success of Barbie means we should make more movies based on toys, but that's really not what it is.
They started a whole new like IP committee at their company where they have people in charge of Nerf and
imagine, Jeremy, a Nerf movie. I know they've already made jokes about how they want to do like a Magic 8-Ball horror movie, which actually doesn't sound so bad. But like, what are you gonna do? Uno? No, come on. I mean, I think the best part about Barbie was that it is super fucking weird. It is so weird and really funny, and has maybe. And I said this in our. And by the way, we did a travel log for this. You can find it if you subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Tower of Babble Podcast. We did a full travel log of it, and we give our thoughts about Barbie and Oppenheimer and Regina while we were there. But we talked about this. It's like it has a message. A movie number one at the box office has no message is the Super Mario Brothers movie. It has nothing to say. It's just a romp in the Mushroom Kingdom, and that's fine. But Barbie does have something to say. Maybe too much. It probably bites off more than it can chew. It has a lot of like, it's juggling all these kind of concepts at the same time. But it's and as that quote from that actor that we can't think of says, don't make more movies about toys, make more movies about women. And that's a big theme of it. But like there's a actual filmmaker behind the camera for Barbie, and behind the pen too, because her and her husband wrote it, and it's really smart, and it's really edgy, and it's bold, and like Transformers it's funny because another, what else can you base off toys? Transformers was successful. The first, trilogy was, because it was also bold. They didn't cut corners to make, Michael Bay didn't cut corners to make the first Transformers movie. Right. So, and that's what, excited people. It wasn't just about, although for us, maybe more so, was about the transforming trucks, which was really cool. But, and we were the perfect age for that, at teenagers. But
the latest one is the least like well performing one.
I know, which is a shame, because apparently everyone who's seen it says it's good, and I haven't seen it yet, which I'm part of the problem, I guess.
Well, and the post credit scene ties it to another universe.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe movies. Is that the rumor?
Huge spoiler, I guess, but it's like so over the top. It's like whatever, dude.
Do you remember the G.I. Joe movies?
No, we missed the boat on that, I think.
Well, I don't know if I saw them. I just don't remember them, and I don't remember them being good at all. So, Wasn't Jason? Was it who was in those movies?
Well, it was a cartoon, right? We didn't have. I didn't. At least I didn't watch it.
Oh, we did. I never watched the cartoon growing up. I have seen episodes of it. There was at one point
Transformers. I didn't really watch.
I went back. That was I chose to go back and like seek Transformer stuff out, but
later.
Exactly. And then with G.I. Joe, I remember watching like. I stumbled across. I was really bored, and I was on my TV. And have you ever gone to just like what's live on YouTube right now? Have you ever done that?
Never.
And it's just random stuff. But one of the channels was just playing episodes of G.I. Joe over and over and over again. So I just like put that on, and it's not very good. It's probably to be fair, it's probably about as good as the original Transformers were, but I didn't have the attachment to it, so I couldn't really see it through that lens. It's very silly. And the like blatant like nobody can kill each other type stuff, so like no one gets hit with any laser blasts, and every time a vehicle explodes everyone jumps out before it. It's just like it really doesn't feel like it has any stakes. So I don't know what about the G.I. Joe specifically people will latch onto, but didn't we just talk about how like we feel like the 80s nostalgia boat sailed? We're into the 90s now.
Well, no, someone said that because they canceled the Masters of the Universe show or something
on Netflix, right? Yes, that's right.
But it was like filmed or maybe they're done.
I think they had spent several $million in development already, and then they canceled it. Which is, to be honest, I actually respect a studio that says we're gonna, despite having spent all this money, we're going to cancel it, because I think the sunk cost fallacy is fair.
They just saw the conversation around Thor: Love and Thunder and like, okay, I'm out.
This isn't working. Lates. Yeah, fair enough.
Even though that movie made tons of money, but that must be because of Ragnarok.
Well, I guess speaking of 80s nostalgia, we can talk about Ninja Turtles here. So I saw the new TMNT, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, animated movie, very similar to the animation style of the Spider-Verse movies, with that same
Puss
kind
in
of
Boots.
Sorry, what? Oh, yeah, Puss in Boots, the new Puss in Boots, which apparently is great. People say. I haven't seen.
Antonio Banderas.
Jeremy, I have a soft spot for Antonio Banderas.
Reference.
I really like Antonio Banderas as an actor. Zorro. My Zorro.
Well, he has one of the best meme gifs of all time.
Oh, which one?
Where he like kind of like kisses his like fingers like and like looks up.
Oh
like,
yes.
And just like it's perfect.
I don't know how you can't not like Antonio Banderas. He just seems like a very likable dude. Anyway, he's not in TMNT, but Jeremy, do you have what's your history? Did you have an attachment to the Ninja Turtles? It feels like everyone had at some point. Some people stick with it, others don't.
For me, it was the original movie.
Oh yeah, great movie.
Or two.
Absolutely great movie.
I just thought like, wow, like that is what, Hollywood, the magic of movie making.
Right, you truly believe
like,
those were turtles.
Yeah, like when people talk about like Star Wars and like the costumes, all that like made sense to them and stuff. Like for me, it was like my first like viewing of that, like feeling of that was Ninja Turtles.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is divine, but never play full price for late pizza. It's a great movie. It's like, and it's slower than you would imagine. It's funny. They really nail it, right? The second movie is not as good, but this movie really, I guess like there was those Michael Bay produced movies that kind of came and went.
Two of them, yeah, and they made bank. They just never made a third. But apparently the production was like hell for like the voice actors or the mocap people. Like
those, have you seen the behind the scenes footage like of them wearing those like big shells on their back?
Yeah, it's so funny.
It is
like the actual
really
actors.
Funny. Yes, it's really funny. But and those movies I watch them. They're fine. They do that thing that like Transformers 2 does, which is like has no internal consistency or logical consistency. So you'll be like in the forest and then you'll go into a sewer grate and then appear in the middle of downtown Manhattan. And it's like, how do they get there? What is like, it's very,
it should have only taken place in a city.
Yeah. 100%.
I don't know why they were going down an avalanche.
the first Ninja Turtles movie also takes place in the forest though. They go to that like house and like meditate and stuff. Remember?
Yes.
But that's all to say that I have I was a big Ninja Turtles fan. I think every kid has. It's like the perfect brand to attract young boys. Like it's like what do you mean? They're teenagers, they're ninjas, they're mutants, they love pizza. Like what else is there to do? Like that's all you need to know, right?
And the guy who's playing Jack Reacher right now, or Hawk in Titans.
Yes. He was one of
he's had kind of like no, he's Raphael, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Oh, that's so weird.
Which is such a like just like a missed opportunity to capitalize on that guy's like rising stardom.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
by like many years. I mean, he's only reaching those levels now.
Yeah.
And those movies were what, like 8 years ago or more, I want to say. It's hard to
guess,
track
but like you
now.
could just like do a third one. Like you could have like tried to do a third one at some point. Like they're all both of them are profitable.
Yeah, and I guess I understand like trying to do the live action thing again now that like it's like graphics caught up, where you can have like the CG look can actually work, but
James Cameron style.
Exactly. But for whatever reason they didn't stick in the zeitgeist. I think if you ask people about Ninja Turtles, I don't even think most people would even remember those movies, to be honest. But I really had a period in time. In fact, it goes back to the beginning of this podcast. If you go to our website, towerofbabble.ca, and you look at there used to be a blog section, if I recall correctly, and I don't know where exactly that sits anymore. It's in there somewhere. But if you can find it on the website and go back far enough, there are individual episode reviews of Ninja Turtles shows from that time frame about I don't know, it was a Nickelodeon show from about 10 years ago. And that show's awesome. Like so good. And I was like, okay, really animated is the secret for this because the talking aliens and the weird mutants and all that stuff kind of works better in animation. And that was really solidified for me in this movie because they absolutely nail the look of the turtles. They all have unique look, which I think is because was kind of introduced by that Michael Bay stuff. They all kind of have different shapes and sizes, and it was more than just which color headband they were wearing, right? But so they bring that forward, and I think that's helpful. But they absolutely nail the teenage element, which has always been kind of missing. Like when you picture the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what age do you feel like you associate them with? Like for me, it's probably like 17, 18 years old, give or take. And that is like, you're basically an adult at that point. Like to call them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at that point is like they could be drinking beer if they were in Canada. So that has always been a bit of a like dissonance for me. But this movie, and they cast actual teenagers to play the turtles, and it totally works. Now, admittedly, I don't fully vibe with them because I'm not a teenager in the year 2023. And I don't really truly understand teenagers because there's really no way to understand. Even as a teenager, I didn't understand teenagers. So there is a little bit of a layer there of kind of like, I understand that these are teenagers, but that it gives it a sense of authenticity because though I don't always understand everything, I know that that's something a teenager would do or something a teenager would say. It feels authentic in that sense. And I think that's really cool. Like they start using language. They used a word that I didn't know existed until like 2 weeks ago. That's like a new slang word for like if you got game with the chicks, you got Riz. And I don't know if you've heard this word before, Jeremy, but they use that word in the movie. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I only found out about that word the other day because I heard it on some random podcast. I just felt like that was like a fun revelation for me. And then on top of that, the visual style is really, really cool. They really nail that with this, again, it is a grittier look to the animation style, but the animation style really lets them be creative. And then it really draws out that comic book feel, which again, based originally on comics, but you don't really feel that as much, I feel like, with the TMNT stuff from recently. So you get that piece, which I think is cool. And then you get a really stellar voice cast. And with the villain played by Ice Cube, Jeremy. Ice Cube plays the villain, Superfly, and he's really, really, really good. Really nails the tone. You get a bunch of these other mutants. You get Mondo Gecko, played by Paul Rudd, who's really good. You get all this big cast. They're not all super involved, but then it all comes together because the soundtrack, Jeremy. So the score is done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. The famous for social media, but a great score, obviously.
They did the Watchmen show as well.
Right, exactly. And that their music is driving. It's synthy. It fucking rocks, dude. And then you layer on top the needle drops, which are all 80s hip hop, 90s hip hop. There's Wu-Tang tracks in there. There's Tribe tracks in there. And they're not like necessarily deep cut tracks necessarily, but they're really nail this badass tone, which is there's a bit of like a dissonance between like teenagers in the modern day, which I don't fully understand, but cool that's what they're doing. It's a true origin story. And then music from when I was a kid, which is a bit weird, but I mean, Seth Rogen is going to bring his own style, and I think he totally nails that too. So they're making a second one. There's going to be a TV show. It's not making enough money. You guys need to go out there. You listeners need to go out there and go see it. So that's my my one ask is please help this movie succeed. It's very good. I want to see it again. That's how good I think it is. So huge, 2 huge thumbs up for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. Did I convince you, Jeremy? Are you going to go see this movie?
Probably not.
Are you going to watch it when it comes to VOD at least?
I don't know.
Oh, Jeremy, you're killing me. You're killing me.
I'm going to watch Oppenheimer for sure. Like that's all
that matters, really. Okay, so before we wrap up here, Jeremy, do you have any comment on the Wonder Woman Gal Gadot situation?
What do you mean?
Well, it sounds like a lot of hearsay.
You thought that it was going to be a reboot, and then now it's not, and then maybe it is.
It's that's what I mean. It's very confusing. They haven't cleared it up, right? I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and James Gunn just tweets about Blue Beetle and replies to people talking about porn stars being cast as Lex Luthor,
which is so stupid.
But he'll reply to that, but won't give clarity on
the Wonder Woman situation.
And then Variety is reporting on it, and then there's community notes saying that, looks inside sources say that it is not confirmed to be an ongoing. It's like, what? How do you even?
Right? I don't know
what's going on here.
This is my own. I will continue to repeat this over and over again. I truly believe for this to work, that they have to do the full reboot. Like,
not happening.
Every major character needs to get a reboot. Peacemaker, I don't consider to be a major character, and it's a TV show spinoff anyway, so it doesn't really.
What do you mean? He's a DLC character in the new Mortal Kombat.
That is true, and that is pretty cool.
Owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but I mean that's why. So that explains it. But and also, I mean, so like some of those DLC characters pretty cool to be TBH. But I just think it's a mistake to attach your wagon to what has been this absolutely chaotic mess, right? You can take any side of that, but I think we can all agree that it has been messy. And if you really want to start fresh, Mr. Gunn, do yourself a favor and just cut it loose and do what you said you were going to do originally and start fresh. It's the only way it's going to work. So, until we get some clarity here. I mean, I like Gal Gadot. I do. But I'm sure there's another actress who can play Wonder Woman. I'm positive, right? So I don't know. It's a fucking mess. But and David Ayer actually chimed in on this recently, and famous for, of course, the first Suicide Squad movie, which was edited to shreds without his consent, which we all know. And there's a whole campaign to release the Ayer cut, and he stepped on in it a little bit this last week on Twitter. But he did say about James Gunn specifically that he believes that he deserves the right to launch his universe without the baggage of past projects. And I think that's all I've been saying since the beginning, which is like, give him a chance to try it, but like the more baggage he takes with him, the harder it's going to be. So that's I don't know. Do you agree with that, or where do you fall?
Well, yeah, 100%. Just now we have to determine, well, what is the baggage? And when he says some things that work, some things that don't, it's like you said, it needs to be full reboot. It's kind of tough when you keep this, keep that, and you say, oh, it's not a major character, this or that. Well, it's just rough. So I would have rather everyone is recast, just start fresh. But I don't think that's what's happening, which is why it's so easy to kind of target and not be as excited.
Yeah, and it is weird because you're right. He has been so vocal about either confirming or shooting down rumors on Twitter, and for this one, oddly quiet, right? And
yeah, and like such a major character part of the Trinity. Yes. So then you're gonna have a new. How do you have a new Trinity then? How do you?
It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
It just doesn't. Yeah,
it doesn't. How do you introduce a new Superman and Lois and a new Batman and all these things, and then keep one? It doesn't work.
We'll have to just leave it there, and hopefully
we've repeated this over and over again. It doesn't. Yeah. That's just what it is. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this week's show. Not a ton of news, to be honest. Like, the only things we didn't really cover here were like Disney Plus is introducing password sharing, or cracking down on password sharing, which is like, of course they are, because everything sucks now. And you're right about Jeremy. Some VFX workers looking to unionize at Marvel, which I think is great because they've been notoriously abused. Some of that stuff I feel like we could have gone maybe into more detail, and the Emmys being delayed, which again, not surprising. But again, with the industry and the turmoil that it is, there's just not a lot of like exciting stories to talk about. So that being said, we have brand new content coming that's Star Wars related, that doesn't have any of that baggage associated with it, I hope. Starting next week, 2-episode premiere next Wednesday in Disney Plus, Ahsoka. If you have not been doing your back-end research, I encourage you to go watch the last couple seasons of Clone Wars. There's a lot of, in fact, in the Discord, I'm pretty sure if you are a Patreon subscriber, you are in our Discord because of that. Patreon.com/Tower of Babble Podcast. There was, I can't remember who posted it now, but someone posted in there about a watch list of things to watch for Ahsoka. I would recommend poking in there and taking that on. You don't have to necessarily see everything, to be honest. There's a lot. But there's some gigs. I would say do yourself, maybe watch some Rebels, maybe watch a little bit of Clone Wars, go back and watch a couple episodes of Mando, and you'll be set. Again, this is exciting stuff. It's looking like it's going to be good. Not to get anyone's hopes up too high, but I am excited. So again, we'll be covering that week to week, although the second week is going to be a little complicated. We'll get to that in the actual episode. But until then, look for more TOB content very soon, right around the corner, and some more small screen Star Wars content right around the corner. And we'll talk to you again soon.